Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Hi, everybody. I tell you, I'm sorry I didn't go up Friday, but Mr. T was up till late, wasn't he? Late Friday night. So here I am. We're going to get caught up, talk about things going on. Let me see who's made it so far. Hi, Tennessee. How you doing? Jersey Joe. How you doing, Jax? Diane. Nice to see you all. B-Dog. Mary. Let's see who gets notifications tonight. Haha. Melvita. You know how they put a moratorium on my... I'm right here, Melvita. Where's Mountain Man? Mountain Man's right here. Where'd you get that sassy cowboy hat at? So, Miss Spendersoo. All right. Nice to see you. Hi, Nikki. Sherry's here. Doc's here. Alan's here. Andrew. Wow. Everybody's rolling in. Being like butter, getting on a roll. I know that makes Nikki laugh when I say that. I'm like butter. I'm on a roll. How you doing, Marla? Marla B. Wait a second. What do we got? I'm going to see. What in the world? Well, I'm just saying. Oh, we got two Melvitas, or did the hat throw me off? I don't know. Well, I'm glad everybody made it in. Hi, Ali. How you doing? New Institute. How you doing, David? How you? M. How you? Wow, they're flying by so fast. Flannel cheese, fancy oak. I need to have an assistant to call out my names. All the people come by. Mary, how you doing? Mary got her notification. I mean, Melvita got her notification. Good. Angela. Hi, Angela. How you doing? Allie got a notification. Good. Well, if I missed anybody, I apologize. But I tell you what, I feel like things are changing for part of our populace. Part of our populace are starting to come around. Hopefully for many of you, your friends and relatives, you know, so you have a happier home life, a better daily life with your friends. They're starting to see what kind of games are being played here. Hi, Lele. How you doing? How you doing? So we shall see. You know, I had somebody, I was talking to somebody I kind of knew in meeting. How you doing, Wayne? And all of a sudden they said, oh, you're pro-Trump or a Trumper or something like that. And an obvious retort came to me that I should have brought up a while back. You know, don't put me in a box. I'm pro-Trump or I'm a Trumper. That's exactly what the media wants. No, I'm anti-crime. Okay? I'm anti-crime. And if that makes me pro-Trump, fine. But we've talked on this channel many times about how shenanigans, I call them, go all the way up from the local government, all through state and everything, straight up to the top. And in many cases, especially urban areas, little townships are one thing, they got their own problems. But when you get into Baltimore, city of Baltimore, surrounding counties, leading right up, I'm picking Maryland out, they are connected somehow, some way, like spider webs, all the way up to the federal government. Same thing with Maryland. You know, I noticed that Letitia James, not Letitia James, I'm sorry, Fawny Willis, when she was at the church for the second time, she said something and I was like, aha, I was right again. She said that she went to DMV. Did y'all hear that? She said that's what we call it, DMV. DC, Maryland, Virginia. And I said Maryland and Virginia were bedroom communities to the Magic Kingdom, DC. And sure enough, that's the way she said. She's talking about, well, her and her assistant / boyfriend talking about the time she went up to the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. So, you got some heavy corruption there, but it's all tied into the federal government, but it spiderwebs its way right into county and towns, especially in that hot zone, the DMZ zone. So back to what I was getting at. When I meet somebody or discuss something with somebody, and I start, talking about what's important to me, and it's not politics. It's a societal. It's everyday life. That is separate from politics. But the thing is that politics have infected our everyday lives. That's not my fault. And so if I want to talk about things that are in my everyday life, people want to make it political and call me a Trumper. Why? Because I want to mind my own damn business? Because I don't want people taxing my eyeballs out of my head? I don't want to be treated poorly when I get pulled over? I don't want a bunch of fees on my electric bill or whatever bills I get to feed some fraudulent notions that have been made political. Who'd have thought your toilet would be political? Your wash machine, your light bulbs. Well, they are. So no, and it's all grift, it's all criminal, it's all tricking the public. Of course, things like plastic in the water, nobody wants filth and garbage around. But the global warming hoax is just that, a hoax. A hoax. We want a clean environment. Nobody wants cleaner air more than I do, or water. But when they start regulating your lives and denying you your natural resources in the name of something that is put out there by a bunch of paid-off scientists, and by the way, where do they get the money to pay those scientists? Oh, you and me. So, fraud, crime, lies, deceit. So, no, they can try to pin that on me that I'm some kind of crazy pro-Trumper. No, I am not. I'm anti-crime. I'm pro-law and order, and I'm pro-Constitution. So that's a good way to answer it, folks. Hi, Camperman. How you doing? Sissy, how you doing? Because like I said, we can't be at odds. We've got to find common ground. Now, one thing, Nikki Haley, she went through her, hi, Alan, Reba, how you doing? She went through her home state and got thumped. And she made a comment about especially what Trump has said the other night. Now, everybody clapped like, I guess Trump said something that offended a group of people or is supposed to offend a group of people. And I saw on an MSNBC short where he used the term vermin. And, it's so horrible he uses the term vermin. Well, let me tell you something. You look at how many words and names they've called him for years and years. You look how many slanderous and libelous portrayals they've made of people who want Trump's policies to succeed. Okay? We got to get to that point where we're saying, look, you know, the policies are what count. Nobody's trying to protect kids. Nobody's trying to protect our border. Nobody's trying to do peace accords. It's all bombings and war and migration and crime. Nobody wants to get a handle on the things but Trump. So that makes me a Trumper, you know, and all the pejoratives and insults that have been tacked onto it by a bought-off media. No, don't do that to me. If you're my friend or want to be my friend, don't do that to me. And that is a good way to approach it. You know, people get into where they make a decision and they defend it once they've chosen a side. They defend it no matter what. Some people. And you got to be flexible, intellectually flexible, to where when you see the position you took was because you got bad information, you have to say, well, I need to change my position. Not deny what's right in front of your face, just to prove yourself right over a wrong. So you see it all the time, and I give shout outs to channels. I've mentioned, for instance, Viva Frey, the little Canadian lawyer guy. Him and Alan Barnes, the attorney. They had a good live stream tonight, and I'll talk about it in more detail. But how a guy in Pennsylvania had his property destroyed. He was detained, and he's being prevented from organically farming. And they were talking about how horrible that was, and how the government didn't have the authority to do that to him. But hey, it's happening. So I suggest you all check out the Sunday night Viva Frey with Barnes, and I'll give you the title in a minute. But I'm continuing on. I was watching, get involved with another channel for out of New Zealand, and it's about crime. And he took a position that flew in the face of established attitudes about a certain case that I've mentioned. And I said it was important. The Adelson case, where Dan Markel was, there was a hit performed 10 years ago. And they're still rounding people up, or it's still walking through the bushes trying to figure out the legal bushes, who's responsible. And there's a lot of points of interest, and one that I think was getting drilled down to was what kind of role corruption in politics played in the delay of arrests for one of the most notorious murders in Florida history. So the analysis gets derailed because the creator, name is Caley, C-A-L-E-Y, wanted to analyze a, air quotes, witness named Jeff Lacasse, who has been, held up for years as some kind of hero witness. And, you could see that attitude. I think he changed his channel to True Crime. But anyway, he was analyzing Jeff Lacasse's behavior on the stand and in prior interrogations. And it was very interesting, a very worthwhile study of human nature. And hey, nobody's perfect, right? Least of all, anybody who is that close to a red rum. That's the MURDE and then R word spelled backwards. So he put out some criticisms, some what ifs, and questioned some of his behaviors, and got attacked by, overnight, like 4 different channels jumping up and down on him because they had taken the position that this person was a no questions asked hero. They didn't take 1 minute to listen to what the concerns were, analyze the testimony, analyze the interrogations. They just right away started attacking the creator. So anyway, hopefully that's going to turn out to be an okay situation. I'm just bringing it up because it's a lesson in knee-jerk reactions over established beliefs. Somebody rolls their eyes up at me and calls me a Trumper or a maggot, okay, because I want law and order, I want kids protected, I want the border patrolled, I want all the things I mentioned earlier. Does that mean I should be attacked and be called a pejorative? Or that I should be scratched off the list as someone to be a friend with? It's the same thing. It's amazing how people go to war, figuratively speaking, internet keyboard war, without taking the time to see where another person's coming from. So anyway, we'll see what develops with that, and I might do a little extra broadcast concerning that situation. I don't know how many of you all here in the chats have been following this case, but whenever you have a prosecutor push law enforcement away verbally, discourage them because a family has political connections or a lot of money and a lot of power, that needs to be looked at. And I think we're going to get into some of that, like a little side broadcasts for people that are interested in law and crime. So, and that's what it all boils down to, because if we can't trust the people who are put in positions of trust to enforce to the best of their ability, faithfully execute our laws, and institute penalties, aka retribution, without favoritism, we don't have a just society. And that's why I put that picture up of the tweet by Letitia James showing the dollar amount. You got NBC constantly saying Trump has been found guilty of decades of fraud. No background. They just say Trump has been found guilty of decades of fraud. Clapping seals and morons and mouth breathers. Trump is a fraud. Trump is a fraud. Broke no laws. There's nothing criminal here. It's one judge with communist leanings, and I'm not being hyperbolic. He has communist leanings. If the Communist Control Act were being enforced from the 1950s, his ASS would not be on that bench. Got one judge who's introduced a statute, injected a statute into Trump's situation that has never been tried before. Novel. They call it novel. I call it dreamed up. No jury. A gag order where he can't even speak. And his clerk having heavy political connections to his main opposition. Arbitrarily making that judgment and arbitrarily picking that figure as a fine, maliciously. Letitia James putting that tweet out, mocking not just Trump, but his supporters. The people that want somebody to get a hold of this monster. The monster that exists out there where somebody like Dan Markell can be sitting in his garage, see somebody come up, and seconds later his life is ended. And it takes 10 flipping years to zero in on the wealthy, politically connected people that obviously had something to do with his life being ended. That's one example of the monster we want somebody to come in and slay. It's deep, it's embedded, it's, like I said, a spider web, and it permeates all the way from the top right down into our own communities. And the only people that are safe are the ones that want to play along. So, that's right, Georgia. She's mocking a developer in New York. And they're all subject to the same brutalization. That's right, Diane. Hunter. And new people, yes, new people, please misspell keywords or use a number in place of a vowel. He's not guilty, Melvita. That's why he's not in jail. But technically, they did arrest him. And that's Fawny Willis. Now, I'm talking Letitia James now, and that corrupt judge and moron. Thank you, Nikki, for putting a Buy Me a Coffee link up. I appreciate that. And everybody that helped me, Robin helped me out last night. I don't see her tonight, but she went to buy me a coffee, and I didn't see before I ended the broadcast. Thank you, Robin. And Nagin and Camperman helped out my last broadcast. Thank you so much. And before that was Norman and Bev and Mike and Miss Minder Sue and Gary, Christopher. That's the week prior. I appreciate everybody that helped me out, buy me a coffee. And I see a lot of people in here now that's went to buy me a coffee. Thank you so much, folks. And the point I was getting ready to bring up, is that I try to help fledgling channels. Fledgling channels, and I cast my bread upon the water and hope that it comes back tenfold, right? And I do give to other channels that are not part of the game we've discussed. These creators that are bullhorns for the mainstream libel that is going on. So, and there's not too many channels that focus on crime, corruption, and politics. Okay, that's what we got to try to encourage. And I broadcast 5 nights a week, and I try. So the thing to do is help channels that are spreading their wings, right? But anyway, and I will, and it gives us more. I mean, it's so boring to just have, everybody you get interested in watching gets jumped on and canceled or attacked or blocked or whatever. We want to try to avoid that. We want reasonable voices to be able to be heard. Hi, Judy. How you doing? The cat, how you doing? And if you don't agree with them, you don't agree with them. But, trying to harm the channel doesn't help. Starfire from Washington. How you doing? Washington, D.C. or Washington out west? I think it's Washington out west, right, Starfire? Jet lag. How you doing? So, and, as you know, I've talked to people in other countries, even had, okay, Starfire, Washington State. Will you hang in there? Hold on. He's coming. So, let me see. That's right, New Insight and Moron. That's his name. So, anyway, we're going to try to support channels that are getting under the skin of the established criminal enterprise, unfortunately, that our local governments have joined with in many cases. Oh gosh, well, sorry about that, you guys. I can't give medical advice, but I hope you feel better. Oh, you've been following me okay. Well, I appreciate that. So, anyway, that's the lesson to start off with, is that, people want to smear me, say, well, you're a Trumper. No, I am somebody who wants my country to be safe and my society to be prosperous, and our future to be bright. So, and if it takes Trump to do it, tell me who else is going to give me what I want. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I want safety, prosperity, and the rule of law to be followed. So, anyway, let's see. I got tell it like it is, and that's what Trump said during his. Did you all watch when he went to the conservative Black Caucus? He said he's telling it like it is, and that's what we need to do. But we need to do it in a way that is, if they're going to get insulted by the term vermin, after all the pejoratives and insults and accusations they've made of not only Trump but his supporters, then they have a problem. I don't, it's not my, as far as I'm concerned, an example. Everybody who was a Democrat that voted for Nikki Haley in South Carolina with the express purpose of making Trump support more seem more diminutive, they're cheaters. Anybody that would go into another party's election process, selection process, to sabotage it, they are vermin. Okay? Political vermin. I have no respect for that. I would never go into a Democrat caucus to trip up the results. That's called cheating. That's another example. Somebody could make a t-shirt and make a lot of money. Cheaters are vermin. Put it on the back of the shirt. So when you're standing in a grocery line, you don't got to look anybody in the eye. They could read the back of your shirt. Cheaters are vermin. Who can deny that? Whether it's cheating in affairs of the heart or cheating in a political process. They say it's the most sacred thing is the vote. All votes must count. And they always go to the high ground and try to use biblical terminology about sacredness. What do they know about sacredness? When they're encouraging little kids to do the things they're doing. But that aside, since they think the vote is so sacred, wouldn't they agree with me that people that are trying to screw up the voting process by cheating are vermin? People who would take somebody that hundreds of millions of people want to see succeed. Someone who sacrificed a billionaire lifestyle to go through this crap. Somebody who would dream up some BS charges that are being processed through the system, relying on communist philosophy. I'm not being hyperbolic. Some ethereal points of air quotes justice are that he allegedly inflated his net worth to gain more favorable rates from banks. So that in their brain equals fraud. Well, you dumb ASS's, okay? Banks were fighting over giving Trump loans. That's the way they make money, is through loans. How do you think banks make money? They don't print it like the federal government. So no, they weren't tricked. They were happy. Not a victimless crime, it's a crimeless crime. They're criminalizing free market behavior. And that is communist. Thank you very much. So somebody who does that and puts up a post like I have on my thumbnail, mocking and knowing it's not just Trump. The employees' families. And she had to go after Eric. She had to go after Donald Trump. Like they don't have kids. Like they don't have employees that rely on their success. All these people are being damaged. But she sits back and puts that tweet out. Ha ha ha! I'm putting the screws to them. Never earned a fair dollar in her life. Never wouldn't work in a pie factory if she got a bite out of every pie. Taking money from somebody else and laughing about it. That's vermin, okay? So we're going to tell it like it is. And that's what Trump did during the conservative Black Caucus. He brought up how Joe Biden was the one who passed those draconian jail sentences. And I remember Jesse Jackson 20 years ago. I'm still wondering if he's ever going to weigh in or what kind of shape he's in. But he was saying, you have a 17 or 18-year-old going away for 20 years over a piece of crack half the size of a peanut. 20 years. No, I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying, but it's life destroying. Oh, Lone Wolf went to buy me a coffee. Thank you very much, Lone Wolf. I appreciate it. Give Lone Wolf a shout out for helping sponsor the program tonight. But at the time, I was a strong conservative. And I sided with Jesse Jackson on that. Think of the things you did when you were 18 years old. And you're in the inner city where all the jobs have been destroyed back in the 70s and 80s. Fathers getting run out of the house from the Johnson's Great Society. And you have nothing. You have no future to look forward to, no jobs, no two-parent home, an education where your teacher doesn't even know how to flip and read. And for something half the size of a peanut, you can make some money. I think he said half the size of half a peanut. And you're gone from 18 years old. You're gone for 2 decades. That's Joe Biden for you. He said many racist things. And Trump repeated them because he's telling it like it is. And he's the one that turned that around where young lives are not destroyed over one instance, nonviolent. Might as well say he saved thousands of young lives. And if they got any brains in their heads, they better take it and run with it. Now, don't screw up again. And he brought up Hillary and her comments about they need to be brought to heel. And how Biden was buddy-buddy with some of the most racist people in Congress. Harry Byrd, Grand Cyclops of the Ku Klux, and then the last word Klan, right? There, Miss Minnesota got boom, boom, ha, 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 for Lone Wolf. Putting buy me coffee in. So anyway, so Trump made a strong showing, and it was late at night. Now, how about the night before? No, his plane landed, and he was 3 hours getting on stage. Everybody was wondering what's going on. He was scheduled to speak at 7, then it turned to 8, and then it turned to 9:30. This was before all this. I think there were security concerns. That was when he's speaking to the Christian bunch. You know, these people are thinking of anything they can do to disrupt, misrepresent, anything they can think of. If they could put a plant in there, imagine that. He's talking to a Christian coalition, right? And they get a plant in there to act a fool or do something really, really crazy. And you get thousands of people to show up to these things. And all it takes is one. I think that 3-hour delay was because of security concerns. But we know we have the best security available, especially for Mr. T. And they sit there and let me see if I can find that one. I got to make sure I don't fall out of my. Oh, speaking of the Adelson bunch, I was talking about. I want to watch this when I get a chance. I pulled this thumbnail up just before I went live, and I thought it meant Harvey Weinstein. But the thumbnail says the Weinstein factor in the Adelson trials, the Adelson and Weinstein family connection. And I believe that's a judge named Weinstein, I think. I'm going to check that out because, hey, you know, judges get elected and we can see how they're all tied together. Chuck Schumer buddying up to that clerk for moron, you know, that influences judges. Then you have these dreamt up charges. Fani Willis, boy, is she gonna, she's walked into a buzzsaw. And that little mayor from, they call her super mayor or some stupid thing like that. But anyway, there's so much coming out. And I went on a high horse and preaching. But I'm going to call out one other channel. I've mentioned him before, Truth and Art TV, and he says this a lot. And I meant to quote him because all the stuff I can talk about tonight, Letitia James being in going to be in big trouble, and Goran going to be in trouble, but Fani Willis and her boyfriend are in big trouble. Without even going into all that, I will, but. Truth and Art TV on Truth Social said, Jesus said to the Pharisees, but you do understand today, if walking on earth physically, he would say this to anyone from any false religion, belittling, opposing, or persecuting Christians. This is what Jesus said to the Pharisees. You are of your father, the devil. That's what Christ said to the Pharisees. Anybody's going out of their way to pick on people of faith, Christians, or you know, any people of faith that are sincerely want to live in a way that pleases the Lord, for them to be attacked. Those that are attacking them, Christ would say, you are of your father, the devil. So anyway, let me see. I've got this one truth from Trump. I mean, he puts out so many, but some of them just need to be read because it's historical fact. And it is lawful communications. Communications that do not contain fraud, deceit, or misquote the law. Like MSNBC and all these other bunch of libelous fake NEWS. Says based on the fact that District Attorney Fani Willis and her lover were together long prior to the filing date of their fake lawsuit against me and many other innocent people, despite their sworn testimony to the contrary. You know, that's a nice way of saying perjury. The case must be determined as over and of no further force and effect, among other things, in close coordination in conjunction with the White House and DOJ, numerous 8-hour meetings between the Biden people and them in D.C. The case was all about stealing close to $1 million for her lover, Wade. Can't argue that. And election interference. Can't argue that. Whereby a vicious and heinous attack is made on crooked Joe Biden's political opponent. This has never happened in the USA, and it is the, quote, stuff of third world countries and banana republics. So it's getting boiled down to the fact that they perjured themselves. They coordinated illegally with the Biden DOJ and the White House. It's documented. They're going to get the records from the Secret Service about White House appointments, that people are physically going into the White House. Fani Willis herself saying she was going to the DMV. Okay. And the money received by Nathan and his perjurious comments. These people are going to jail. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to happen. And what's their best bet? Spill your guts. Spill your guts. That's your best bet. I like to say that to the other ones I was talking about with the Adelson case. Somebody needs to spill their guts. I'm taking a look at this map of South Carolina. All those counties. Trump dominated. My plumber intel told me that 81% of the people in the exit polls in South Carolina, 81% of them said unabashedly that they were pro-MAGA. 81%. So how come Trump only got 60%? Because of cheating vermin. That's why. Where's my chats? There we go. Because of cheating vermin, that's why. Well, Judge McAfee's got his, McAfee or whatever his name is, he's got his problems with, they're not too bad. It all depends on how he handles it. But anyway, these counties, Trump's dominating except for liberal little bastions where that traditionally had a strong Democrat showing in South Carolina. It's like 3 counties out of, I don't know how, 40, where Nikki Haley did good. People in the Democrat Party interfering with a Republican primary. Vermin. All right. And you had Javier Milei from Venezuela. Argentina. I wish Venezuela. Argentina. And then the El Salvadorian president, Bukele, all right? He's the one who built the 65,000 person mega prisons and dropped his crime rate to 0. But you had both of them at CPAC. And dark forces, he said, quote, dark forces are already taking over your country, the El Salvadorian president said. So him, Milei, and even the dreaded Putin are bringing up dark forces, talking in a spiritual manner, bringing up Satan himself. Okay? The dark side, if you will, if people want to look at it that way. The part of the human proclivities that bring things like the assassination I talked about earlier of an ex-husband, the hubris, and the notion that they were above everybody because of their political influence and money. That they, I'll take care of this divorce. Bang! That's the end of that. Who the hell thinks that way without Satan? He said, don't call yourself a journalist if you're just an activist. That's a good one. That's a good one. Now, remember when I was talking about when Terrence and Nathan and Fonnie were all testifying, and I said there was one attorney, he kind of looked like a retired colonel, Sadow, Steve Sadow. Citizen Free Press put this out from Charlie Kirk. Attorney for President Trump, Steve Sadow, specifically asked Nathan Wade under oath how many times he'd visited Fannie Willis's residence in 2021. And I remember that testimony. That Sadow's the one where they both kept saying, why don't you quit yelling at me? And he never yelled at anybody. But anyway, he asked him, so if the phone records were to reflect that you were making phone calls from the same location as Willis's condo before November 1st, 2021, and it was on multiple occasions, the phone records would be wrong? And Nathan Wade said, if the phone records reflected that, yes, sir. They set up a perjury trap and Wade walked right into it. He perjured himself right there on the stand. And Sadow had the phone records. The thing I want to point out about the phone records. Now, Nathan Wade has appealed to Judge McAfee under no circumstances to let that information be seen or discussed, even if it's in private, in camera, air quotes, with the judge. Not at all. And the judge said, no, your motion's denied. We're going to look at those records. But the thing about those records, how many people do you think used the bathroom in their pants when they found out Trump's lawyers were able to get through AT&T all of Fannie's phone records, all of Nathan Wade's phone records, probably all of Terrence's phone records? They had no idea. I'm going to tell you what, there were a lot of people who needed to change their drawers when they found out that they had already gotten the information. And you know what? Maybe they can thank Adam Schiff when he went around and got a secret warrant from Matt Gaetz's phone records, Devin Nunes's phone records, Jim Jordan's phone records. What goes around comes around. Watermelon Head. Remember you did it? Cuts both ways. What did I see? I saw on the news. No, I saw one of these, what I consider, my opinion, one of these paid YouTube channels said that Jim Jordan might be looking at conspiracy charges. Jim Jordan? Well, Jim Jordan announced, he said, I got news for you, Fonnie. I got a whistleblower in your office. Somebody's spilling the beans. And you know what I think, folks? It's more than one. You know how I know in my own mind, my own heart, I don't know how anybody else feels, but remember the lady in orange who filed the indictments before the grand jury adjourned, memorializing without a doubt that the law was broken concerning confidentiality of grand juries, and the secrecy of grand juries was compromised at the highest levels. The lady in orange, the clerk of the court, she filed it before everything was done. There's no denying they were breaking the law. And these fools think that they're going to interfere in a presidential election that has global implications that will affect trillions of dollars of worldwide economies, multiple trillions of dollars. They think that they're going to screw around with these namby-pamby charges. They're that stupid. They got puppeted right into that position. Easily bribed, easily set up to take this fall. And they're going to take a fall. What is the way out? Spill your guts. These morons didn't come up with this garbage on their own. Somebody put them up to it. And that's for anybody else out there. Alvin Bragg is probably the least stupid of all of them, because he didn't want to take this case with Trump. Like I said, any fool that would get in the middle of this titanic struggle, it is world powers, corrupt world influence that is affecting this whole thing. That's why Biden won, quote, air quotes, won. From foreign influence, corrupt criminal foreign entities working with corrupt domestic entities. And it's like Sidney Powell said, there's trillions of dollars riding on this. So, spill your guts, Fanny. And Trump said during his speech, he didn't look for Joe Biden to make it. He said he's looking for Joe to be replaced. Looking for Joe to be replaced. And, you know, I'm going to say it tonight, and I think I alluded to it in the past. Watch for the wicked one. Who's going to come in the picture? People are saying Michelle. People are talking Gavin Newsom. Hillary Dillery do. You think if there's a vacuum, a power vacuum, she wouldn't want to fill it? Imagine it, folks. Imagine. They do their little convention. Remember their convention last election? It was GAY as all get out. I'm sorry, but it was. And everybody was saying, well, God, this is terrible. We're going to lose this election. This is one of the worst conventions we've ever seen. Well, he went on course and got the most votes, right? Well, anyway, imagine this time. They picked Joe. Oh, Joe, I can't run. I got an aneurysm. Oh, he told this report on the Daily Mail, I'm sorry, folks, they made me sick. I'm going to have to make you sick too. Biden, 81, says the key to his marriage is good S3X. Him and Jill. How Joe infuriates Jill, his wife of 47 years, with a very risque joke to staff about their private life. So anyway, don't get any visuals. But can you imagine all the I'm with her crowd? Every single P3DO, every single Bender, put a G in there, Bender, every single damn one of them, every politician on the take, okay, every Trump hater would bounce out of their chairs if they heard Hillary's name. You'd get 10 times the reaction of support, screaming, crying, laughing, Hillary, 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 than you ever would for Gavin Newsom or even Michelle Obama. So watch what I mean. Somehow, some way, she's going to get her crooked backside into the mix. So we'll see if I'm right or not. I can't think of anybody else. I think it was promised to her, and she's gonna make them live up to their promise. Here's the article. Jim Jordan has a surprise for Fani Willis. There's a whistleblower in her office who we have talked to. Ha ha ha. Wow. And then Citizen Free Press put up 2,073 voicemails. Gosh. I don't know how many texts. 9,792 text messages. Heavy concentration after hours, 7 days a week. Back in 2021, when they said they had no relationship, they testified under oath. So yeah, Fanny, what are you going to do about that? Let me just see what's going on in the chats here. Yeah, the old gray Mary, what it used to be. Hi, Hal, how you doing? Got nightmares. Well, we've been living a nightmare. Melinda agrees with me. Yeah, it's going to be her, Hildebeest. Hal said, she's going to act like she's the shock value. That's why they got her laying low. Hi, Larry, how you doing? They're keeping her out of the target zone. They think. Mr. T knows what's up. He knows it's going to be her. Well, Glenn Greenwald. Listen to this text put out by Glenn Greenwald. After everything we just discussed, it's absolutely urgent that we imprison Donald Trump as soon as possible, because if we don't, there's a chance he might become president again, and he may weaponize the Justice Department against his political opponents. What an ass. And it's good that the internet's forever. We're never going to let you forget you made such an asinine statement, Glenn Greenwald. We got to put Trump in jail, because if we don't, he's going to weaponize the justice. In an NBC News report, for those who have criticized former President Trump, fears of retribution grow as he campaigns for re-election. And here's a CNN poll they put up. They put up the night of the election in South Carolina, 2/3, 65%, according to CNN poll, think 2020 was rigged. 65%. 81% said they were MAGA. 65% think it was rigged. How come Trump got 60%? Because of the vermin. The cheating vermin. Oh my gosh. How about that young girl, that nursing assistant? Laken Riley. She was red rummed, going to school, going to classes to be a nurse, and gets waylaid, and her 23 years old, loses her life. 23 years old. And it's by somebody who should not be here, if you know what I mean. So somebody put up a post, George Floyd. George Floyd got, what did he get, 7 funerals? He got 4 televised funerals and 70 days of riots. What does Laken Riley get? And then you hear about the, was he National Guard or Army? He went out there in front of the White House and set himself on fire. These people are delusional. I got a picture of it. Maybe I'll put it up on my next thumbnail. He's in uniform and he lights himself on fire. I'm not sure how badly he got it, but let me see what he said. He said something like he would not have any, life wasn't worth living, or he'd never be at peace as long as the Gaza genocide continued. What kind of sense does that make? Hey, I was talking about it with all policemen. There needs to be psychological profiling done and background checks. Go through social media and look at every damn thing they posted. If they've got jihadist tendencies, or if they have, I'm sorry if you don't know how you were born. You know what I'm talking about. You're not stable enough for position. If you want to go through one of those changes, you can't be combat ready. That's the kindest way to put it. Oh my gosh. Sitting here looking at that picture. This guy named Amos Miller. Amos Miller is the name of that farmer in Pennsylvania that Viva Frey and them were talking about. Amos Miller. But I'm going to leave you guys with this one tweet that a thing called Maze put out. So let me make sure my studio is still connected. And I'm going to tell you what Maze says the biggest mistake the deep state made. The biggest mistake the deep state / establishment / uniparty ever made was stealing the 2-0 and then 2-0 selection, okay? If they didn't, Trump's second term would be almost over now. The mainstream media would still have the CVID D count, if you know what I mean, the unalived count, they would still have it up and running. And the 800,000 loss of life from CVID that happened under Biden would be blamed on Trump. Ever would have been scared into supporting their ultimate weapon, censorship. Trump would have most likely been impeached a couple of more times. Liberals, instead of getting 6 boosters, would have just been blaming him for the VAX not working. Dems would be running someone young and without dementia in November. The America First movement probably would have started to stall out. And people would have never had their eyes opened by the true awfulness of a President Biden. But they just couldn't help themselves, and now they are effed. So that's an interesting scenario to think about. If they'd let Trump in there, they could have snuffed this whole movement out. If you think about it. So anyway, hi Wanda, how you doing? Single songwriter, how you doing? Who did I see? I saw somebody in here. Well, anyway, folks. Yeah, we had a heck of a weekend, didn't we? And tomorrow is going to be the judge having the in-camera hearings going over the texts of Nathan Wade and Fawny Willis. And well, what is he going to do as a judge? It's going to be part of the record. If he's got prima facie evidence of criminal activity. The dude, how you doing? So we'll see how it goes. Let me see if we got it. Yeah, check that Viva. This farmer trying to grow organic food got his property destroyed and he got taken into custody. But let me tell you what. Here's a MSNBC short. This is what they're reduced to. Rachel Madcow. She said Trump was, after his going to the Congressional Black Caucus, she called him Uncle Ramble Standers. Trump is Uncle Ramble Standers. And they say she shreds his South Carolina speech. What the hell is that supposed to mean? I listened to the video. I listened to it. And she said, he goes before the Black Caucus and talks about the craziest stuff. He's just an Uncle Ramble Standers. Uncle Ramble Standers? And they put that up as if she shredded Trump. To me, that's an insult to the Congressional Black Caucus or the Conservative Black Caucus to use that kind of verbiage. Uncle Ramble Standers. They got exactly what he was saying. They know exactly what he's talking about. Why? Because he was telling it like it is. And that's why not only the black community likes him, but that's why everybody likes him that wants to hear the truth and aren't stuck in a preconceived narrative. That's right. Single songwriter, funny and truthful. They are disgusting, Melinda. Vermin is disgusting. I was going to put varmints. See, when a varmint, there's a special legal category for a varmint. I'll get into that in another live stream. But anyway, folks, I don't want to keep you all up too late. Probably should be going live tomorrow. Maybe not. I don't know. But if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll know when I go live. And I want to thank Lone Wolf for helping sponsor tonight's program, going to buy me a coffee. And if you're listening after hours, you just go to buy me a coffee. And for Mountain Man, if you want to help support the channel, I appreciate it. And like I said, I try to help fledgling channels myself. I try to spread it out a little bit because we can't do it all ourselves. That's why I'm calling for truth and reconciliation, just like Donald Trump says. Okay, folks. Anyway, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. We'll be getting together again real soon. And I hope you have a great night. And I'll talk to you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.